Have you ever heard the one about the traveler who checked into a haunted hotel? It's a classic tale, told around campfires and whispered in darkened rooms. But what if I told you that some stories are more than just legends? Let me tell you about a man named Arthur, and the night he spent in room 13. The rain was relentless, lashing against the windows of Arthur's car as he pulled up to the faded grandeur of the Grand Hotel Meridian. It was an old place, the kind that seemed to sag under the weight of its own history. The lobby was dim, filled with the scent of dust and decay. A gaunt receptionist with hollow eyes looked up from a worn leather-bound ledger. "Just one night," Arthur said, shaking the water from his coat. The receptionist's gaze flickered. "We have several rooms available, sir. All except one." He pointed a bony finger at a key hanging alone on a hook. "Room 13 is forbidden. No one who stays there ever makes it through the night." A smirk played on Arthur's lips. He was a man who prided himself on logic and reason, a debunker of myths and a scoffer of superstitions. "Forbidden, you say? Sounds like a challenge?" The receptionist's warning only fueled his curiosity. He saw it as a cheap marketing gimmick, a way to add a bit of mystique to a failing establishment. He insisted, dismissing the old man's grave protests with a wave of his hand and a confident smile. "I'll take my chances," he declared, snatching the cold brass key from its hook. "I'm not afraid of ghost stories." The receptionist simply nodded, his expression a mixture of pity and resignation as Arthur ascended the creaking staircase. The door to room 13 groaned open, revealing a chamber trapped in time. A thick layer of dust coated every surface, and the air was frigid, carrying a damp, earthy smell. Arthur shivered, chalking it up to the storm outside. As night descended, casting long, distorted shadows across the room, the strange occurrences began. The single light bulb above the bed flickered erratically, casting the room in strobing flashes of light and darkness. He heard whispers, faint and disembodied, seeming to slither from the corners of the room, though he couldn't make out the words. He tried to ignore it, attributing the sounds to the wind, but a chilling sense of being watched settled over him, cold and heavy as a shroud. Just as he was about to convince himself it was all in his head, he glanced at the ornate, tarnished mirror hanging above the dresser. A figure stood behind him in the reflection. It was pale and gaunt, its eyes dark, empty sockets in a face contorted by silent agony. Arthur spun around, his heart hammering against his ribs. The room was empty. He looked back at the mirror, and the ghostly apparition was there again, its mouth open in a silent scream. An unnatural cold swept through the room, so intense it felt like stepping into a freezer. The wallpaper began to peel away, and from the plaster beneath, spectral hands, gray and skeletal, pushed outward, reaching for him with desperate, grasping fingers. The next morning, the sun cast a weak light through the storm clouds. The hotel manager, accompanied by the same hollow-eyed receptionist, walked up to room 13. He had a master key in his hand and a look of grim familiarity on his face. He unlocked the door and pushed it open. The room was pristine. The dust was gone, the bed was perfectly made, and the air was still. There was no sign of a struggle, no trace of the terror that had unfolded. The room was utterly and completely empty. Arthur was gone. Another guest who had failed to see the morning, another soul claimed by the secrets held within the walls of room 13. So, the next time you check into an old hotel and they tell you a certain room is off limits, perhaps you should listen. Some warnings are not meant to be tested, and some doors are best left unopened. After all, you never know what might be waiting for you on the other side.